Man, there are some lovely views in Gloucestershire. Yeah. I absolutely love coming up here. I don't come up here often enough because usually it's, well, really, really busy. But it's just a nice place to start off a video, isn't it? Alright everyone, today we're on the wicked Kawasaki ZX-9R. And you all know how much fun I have on this motorcycle. I absolutely love riding this bike. Yes, it's rough around the edges, but I absolutely love this bike. And no one should knock one of these bikes before they try them. Alright, honestly. If you're trying to get into this hobby, but you're struggling with budgets, these bikes will honestly do you very, very well. Alright, look at that. Starts up on the button. No worries whatsoever. Alright, now I don't know what one of these bikes was like when it was new, of course, but you know when a motorcycle sounds bad, you know when it's bad, you know when it's good. Alright, if it rides smoothly, then it probably rides as it was meant to. These are wonderful bikes. Old motorcycles have a lot left to offer. They have a lot to offer the modern rider. Alright, there's so much out there to choose from as well. I think these bikes, they kind of fall down by the wayside. Everyone kind of forgets about them because everyone's talking about, like, oh, R1, oh, 1000 Fireblade, oh, all these new bikes, Hayabusa. Well, you can get an old Hayabusa as well, but you know what I mean. People are talking about these much newer bikes, but they forget that these were the motorcycles that inspired those. And if I'm being totally honest with you, a lot of them ride in a very similar way. The way how the torque feels will be very similar. The way how the bike feels to ride, how fast the bike is on the road, is going to feel very, very similar. One of these as opposed to a ZX-10R, for example. So this is ZX-9R. The ZX-10R kind of replaced these bikes in, was it the mid 2000s, something like that. All right. It's a no-brainer. You don't have to spend an absolute fortune to get involved in riding motorcycles, high performance motorcycles. This was a bike, I think, that could do a quarter mile in 10.5 seconds. That is so quick! And this is a 24-year-old motorcycle, and I bet you that old Fireblades, the old Gixxers, the old Yamahas, I bet they could do very, very similar performance numbers to this. And when you think about it, it's not that far off from one of the newer ones, one of the more modern ones. You know? I really didn't think that I would enjoy this motorcycle as much as I do. Yeah, I thought, oh, it's going to be old, it's going to be a little bit ropey, it's going to be rough around the edges, the experience isn't going to be that refined. And even though, yes, a lot of these old bikes are a bit rough and ready, they will still do you good. I don't know how many times I'm going to be saying that in today's video. But I promise you, the newer bikes aren't all that they're cracked up to be. And I kind of mentioned in a previous video that I was shooting today that they do the same thing. These old performance bikes and the new performance bikes, despite the fact that there's a massive difference in terms of tech features and things like that, they are the thing that they are meant to do, they both do very, very well. They ride. Yeah. And that's all you need, guys. When it comes to the motorcycle hobby, that is all you need, is be able to ride a good, reliable bike. For street use, you're not going to see much, you're not going to feel much difference between this ZX-9R and a ZX-10R. Alright? You're not. The seating position might be slightly different, the ergos might be slightly different, but in terms of the rideability and the performance, it's going to be on par in a lot of ways, right? A lot of these 90s hyper, well, I was going to say hyper sports, but super sports, they perform really, really well compared to their modern counterparts. Alright? So don't knock them. Don't knock these old bikes. Even if you are a motorcycle enthusiast and, I don't know, you like more modern bikes, things like that, add one of these old ones to your collection. It's not going to be any more maintenance than one of your newer bikes, right? If you maintain your bikes properly, it's not going to be any more than what you're doing on the newer ones. You know, you might have to spend a few quid here and there, alright, getting it fixed up, getting it roadworthy or what have you. But from my experience on this bike, I've had this bike now for 4 months, I think it is. 3 or 4 months. I haven't had to spend a penny on it other than doing an oil change so far. If this motorcycle lasts me a year in this condition, the way it's riding, the way it's running, I'm going to be absolutely over the moon, alright? This would have been one of the best motorcycle buys I think I would have ever had. Because with these ones, you expect them to go wrong at some point. You expect them to break. But they shouldn't do. They shouldn't break as long as they're a good one and as long as you look after them. Yeah? These still have a lot to offer. They can still take you on really long road trips. They can still take you on those group rides. You can get every experience possible on a motorcycle from one of these, as good as what you would get on a more modern one. Alright? Honestly, these older bikes, and there's a lot of them, a lot of these older bikes out there to choose from, and they're all running and they all have MOTs. You are going to find a few that aren't running, that need work, because those ones are the ones that have been neglected. The ones that are still running, the ones that are still on the road, the ones that still have MOTs. God, that cyclist didn't look, did they? Jesus Christ. They just pulled out. They didn't even look. But those are the ones that have been looked after. Those are the ones that are still worth running, because people have spent money on them. People have looked after them. It's like any car, any motorcycle, any kind of machine that you buy. If you run it on a shoestring budget, they're never going to last. Alright? Those are the bikes that don't get their oil changes done. They're the bikes that don't get cleaned. They're not stored indoors. Right? I get it. But these ones, the ones that are still running, the ones that have had maintenance done to keep them going, they're no-brainers. Absolute no-brainers, guys. Alright? So whatever you do, if you're looking for a new bike, don't be afraid to look at the old stuff. Right? This old stuff still has a lot to offer. And I didn't think I'd be saying that. Honestly. I thought that this was going to be one of those bikes that I'd get bored of really quickly. One of those bikes that will break within the first month of riding it. And I didn't know how much I was going to be able to get out of this one. But I've been pleasantly surprised with the amount that this motorcycle has offered me so far. And a lot of the video ideas that we have in future for this motorcycle may break it. Alright, that's what this motorcycle was meant for, to do those videos that are a little bit risky. Things that you should not normally do on a motorcycle, but can it survive? That kind of thing. You know? Is it just disastrous if you do this particular thing? I don't want to give it away, because it's still something that we're planning, alright? There's still videos that we're figuring out yet. But I want to be able to get as much content out of this motorcycle as possible. I want it to pay for itself. So I want to look after it as much as I possibly can, but I know that some of those videos are gonna do quite well. So, but yeah, if this motorcycle makes it, I don't know, to May next year, all right, then I'm gonna put up some of those videos, or I'm gonna proceed with some of the videos that I think are risky to do, all right. But yeah, make sure to hit that subscribe button, make sure to hit that notification bell so you don't miss those videos, because they are going to be crackers. I can't wait. I can't wait, but at the same time you get that feeling that you want this motorcycle to live, you want it to keep going. So it'll be a real disappointment if this bike does not survive the videos that we've got planned. But you know, if it pays for itself and it's done its part, then I think it'll be alright to do. I'm not going to feel so guilty. But that's just this circumstance in particular, guys, alright? Just because I'm going to be doing some things to this bike that aren't going to be that nice to it. That's not to say that I don't care about this motorcycle, I really do. Any motorcycle I've ever owned, I've cared about, and this is no exception, alright? So anything that I can do to keep this bike going, I am going to do it, alright? And if it breaks, I'm going to try fixing it. But honestly, there's so many good bikes out there. So many good ones. You just got to kind of know which are the ones to get. You got to know what is a good one. Alright, we've got a video about that as well, so definitely go check that one out afterwards if you want to. How to make sure you're buying a good motorcycle, one that's going to last, one that's going to be reliable. Alright, but just keep this in mind, alright, even though there are going to be plenty of them that are going to be good, are going to be reliable, and they'll last, they're not going to last forever, alright, and they may break. There may be, the bike may be running really, really well when you buy it, but then something happens at some point or other, something wears out a little too much, and the bike's dead. More often than not, if you buy a Japanese bike, if you buy any of the Japanese brands, you won't have those kinds of problems. Usually what will happen is they'll give you warning signs first that something bad is happening. So they'll usually give you an opportunity to fix them. Alright, so listen to the bike and kind of understand when it's running good and understand when it's not. Because if you get to that point, then you're going to be able to pick up on a lot of these things before they have any chance to manifest. Alright? But yeah, I suppose that's the tip of the day in today's video. Anyway, everyone, thank you ever so much for joining me all the way to the end of today's video. I hope you've enjoyed this ride out with me. It's been fun. I absolutely love riding this motorcycle. Every single time I get out and ride her, it's an absolute blast. So leave a like for the ZX-9R. Let's see if we can get to 100 likes on this video. That would be absolutely wicked. Thank you ever so much to anyone who leaves a like. Get subscribed, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our future content on any of the motorcycles that we feature on this channel. And we will catch you all in the next video. Have a good one. Take care, everyone. Ride safe.